Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sports Now with Darius and Aiden. I am Darius Adams, and thank you all for tuning in today for another episode as now we react to the Klay Thompson news. And if you haven't heard, the Golden State Warriors are preparing to lose Klay Thompson this offseason, and this is the beginning of the end of the dynasty here in Golden State. Now, my immediate reaction to this again, it has to be that this is a sad day for NBA fans. I do not, I never envisioned Klay Thompson playing for another organization outside the Golden State Warriors. Klay Thompson has been a multiple time All Star, a multiple time All NBA selection, a 4-time NBA champion in Golden State. He's one of the greatest shooters God has ever created. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And when I look at these photoshops of Klay and these Lakers photoshops and Magic jerseys and maybe even my Dallas Mavericks, it just doesn't seem right. It seems weird. It is comparable to seeing D Wade in a Cavs jersey or Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon playing for Toronto or Pat Ewing playing for the Supersonics and the Orlando Magic back in the day. It just doesn't seem right. Okay, and I know that this past season for Clay and the Warriors have not been, just a dream scenario. You know, I know Clay wants his back, but I know Clay needs to accept the fact that he is not the same player that he used to be. Klay Thompson is not the Klay Thompson. It's not the same Klay Thompson as old. He has had to adapt to certain situations, considering the fact that he suffered back-to-back major injuries, with the torn ACL and torn Achilles. He has to accept that. And if I'm Stephen Curry and if I'm Draymond Green, I am doing whatever it takes to keep Klay Thompson Golden State. There is no way I could picture that trio playing without each other. No way. That is a trio where I expected them to stay together throughout the duration of their career and retire together. All right. And if I'm Steve Kerr, I'm preaching to my front office that this is a state of emergency right now. A state of emergency. There is no way that Golden State can lose out on the Paul George sweepstakes and lose out on Klay Thompson. No way. And we've heard the trade rumors surrounding Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody in the earlier portion of last season, and right now we're hearing the trade rumors regarding Andrew Wiggins as well. And the one question I have in mind is, what is the future of Golden State? What is the future? Golden State still has the ability and the talent, of course, to compete in a difficult Western Conference. As long as you have Stephen Curry on your roster, you are always going to compete. But when you lose out on a guy like Klay and don't have any type of option to replace him, that's where we enter the gray. That's where we enter the gray area. That's where we enter into the trouble zone. And with Klay Thompson, no matter how many questions we have surrounding his efficiency or him not being the same guy that he used to be, we still need to accept the fact that he was the number 2 option for this team. They got to the playing tournament. You take away that scoring production and you replace him with absolutely nobody. The Golden State Warriors will be they will be a bottom 4 seed in the Western Conference. The Golden State Warriors need to start making moves right now. And the Warriors have been taking L after L throughout the entirety of this postseason. The Paul George sweepstakes, you lost out on that due to him opting out. You couldn't sign a trade for him. Huge loss. Because, like I mentioned in the last episode, that would have been the perfect dream scenario for him if they did happen to lose out on Klay. You lose out on Paul George, you lose out on Klay, you have all these trade rumors, and you have nobody to replace those guys with. It is a state of emergency for Golden State. And if I'm Stephen Curry, if I'm Draymond Green, I am worried, I am scared, I am panicking. The Golden State Warriors are in a state of emergency. But if I'm Klay Thompson right now, personally, this has to be a career move. It's a money move. Of course, I know his loyalty will always be for Golden State, but there were other teams that could really see him flourish, and could possibly put them in a position to win a championship. Now, I've heard rumors about Klay Thompson come to my Dallas Mavericks, and on Twitter, I was like, no, we really don't need another shot chucker because we saw with Tim Hardaway a little bit at the end of this past season. And I've been thinking on it, I've been sleeping on it, and I'm like, man, I wouldn't mind Klay Thompson being on my team as a third option, because one thing this team needs is more shooting. But another concern would be for Dallas, defensive concerns. It would be defensive concerns. I know Klay Thompson used to be one of the best 3-and-D players in this league, one of the best two-way players in this league, and since the injuries, he has not returned to that pedestal. But I'm kind of wishy-washy on how that would go. Klay Thompson in Dallas, the Mavericks were the best defense in the league in the final 20 games of the regular season. We saw how they flourished on both ends of the floor throughout their long postseason run. Yeah, Klay Thompson, that mix. You resigned Derrick Jones Jr. You still have you still have Luke High. You still have two solid bigs in Gaff and Derek Lively. Yeah, Klay Thompson to that mix. I think we may enter the conversation of Dallas possibly going back to the finals. Possibly. That depends on the efficiency of Klay Thompson throughout an entire 82 game record season. All right. Now, another team I've been thinking about is Orlando. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a kind of an Orlando fan. That they're the Magic on my team in the East. They have a lot of cap space. They're willing to pay Klay Thompson what he wants. You plug Klay Thompson into a system where they need shooting and efficient scorer, that may really, really work. You put Klay Thompson alongside a stud and Paulo Banchero and a young feisty defender and Jalen Suggs. You put Klay in that system, he will definitely flourish. But one team I'm really questionable about, I'm questionable about, it has to be the Lakers. I know they just drafted Bronny and Knet out of Tennessee. Bron just opted out of his contract and he's trying to work a deal where the Lakers could possibly retain a star. Diego just opted in. Cam Reddish just opted in today. Matter of fact, you put Klay Thompson into that system, maybe we could see the Lakers be a top 6 seed in the West. Possibly. Now they have a new coach, JJ Redick. Same type of play style as a shooter. JJ Redick knows what a shooter wants, what a shooter needs, what a shooter desires. And the two best scenarios and teams for Klay Thompson right now in this point of his career has to be the Lakers or the Magic. But as far as just my overall reaction to this news, it has to be I can't envision Klay not playing for the Warriors. I can't envision it. But can Klay make the same impact on these teams like the Lakers or Dallas or Orlando like he had on Golden State throughout those 4 championships and throughout the entirety of that dynasty? I think once again the Warriors have been the biggest loser of the NBA offseason so far, and this Klay Thompson news is just another L to the bucket for them. So, with that being said, thank you all for joining us here for Sports Now. I'm Darius, and we will see you on the next episode. Until then, peace.